The beauty of China's landscapes and the age-old customs practiced there have contributed to the country's long-standing reputation for cultural wealth. What if, though, the hills and the mountains of this great land are also home to something else that is larger than life? In this case, we do mean actual giants. Yes, claims of huge humanoid monsters being discovered in the most inaccessible parts of China have surfaced in recent years. People throughout the world have been inspired by the mystery surrounding these findings. Come along with us on this thrilling adventure as we investigate the fascinating world of Chinese giants. In 2002, researchers in China set out to learn as much as they could about the birthplace of Chinese civilization. Important sites, reaching back 3,500 to 5,500 years, have been excavated and examined as part of this inquiry. The beginnings of China's multiple civilizations and their final melding into a coherent whole, for example, were previously cloaked in mystery. The narrative of China's terracotta soldiers is a prime illustration of this. The experts deciphering the data from these sites have shared their findings of their work with Chinese publications to bring the findings to the world. From the outside, Jinan's Jiangzhou district in Shandong province, East China, doesn't look like much more than a vast area of farmland where wheat had been harvested for many seasons. This area may seem simple at first glance, but there's actually a lot more going on here than meets the eye. If you dig far enough, you'll find a Neolithic settlement dating back some 5,000 years, complete with a grave for huge individuals and rare jade and ceramic artifacts. Jiaosha village's farmland, found in North Taishan Mountain and watered by the Zhuye River, entered the records of archaeology when a research team from the University of Shandong discovered evidence that it was a site of a very early civilization conforming to the Dawanku culture. Several artifacts were discovered during the team's excavation of the site. The site's significance is outlined by the Dean of Shandong University's Archaeology Department, Tang Zhongming. He elaborates on the site's relevance for understanding the development and decline of civilizations along the Yellow River's lower reaches. Excavator Tang claims that the age of the site is at least 5,000 years old based on the results of age determination procedures, such as carbon-14 dating, applied to the remains of persons who were buried there. The data shown on the site provides evidence for this claim. The area that is currently known as Jiaosha was declared as protected area in 1992, after its discovery in 1987. During the 2016-2017 school year, students and teachers excavated a total of over 2,170 square meters. They uncovered a ceramic kiln, 974 ash pits, the foundations of 116 homes, 215 graves, and a trench that ringed the walls. Based on the remains of walls, trenches, and pottery kilns, the site was a significant center for politics, economy, and culture during the middle and late stages of the Dawanku culture in the northern regions of Shandong. Nonetheless, many burial spots break the walls, even though the rammed earth barrier was finished by the late phase. Archaeological digs are continually being conducted to better understand the city's past. The find was made on June 24th by students and Professor Wu Hao of the Department of Archaeology and Museum Studies. 3 meters below ground level was where they found the skeleton. They dusted off the human remains with a little brush to reveal the grim reality beneath. As they dug out the upper half of the body, a circular jade object could be seen on the right shoulder. Possession of such an item suggested the individual had had financial success in a former existence. Chengjia, the representative site of the Longshan civilization, was uncovered by archaeologists about 5 kilometers from Jiaosha. The Longshan culture developed in the middle and lower Yellow River valleys, marking the end of the Neolithic period. Its antiquity extends back further than 4,000 years. Most of the artifacts found here date to the Dawanku culture's middle and late periods, indicating that the area was continuously inhabited from the time of the Dawanku culture all the way up to the Han Dynasty. Beginning in 206 BC, the Han Dynasty ruled China until 220 AD. A large population previously flourished in this area, and they built a society in which everyone played an important part. Discovering the tombs of people who were at least 1.8 meters tall, and possibly much taller, in a cemetery in Jiaosha is one of the most remarkable archaeological finds in recent decades. While this may not seem like much now, in comparison to other men of their time, these men were towering above the average person. Several authorities believe that the ancestors' high social status was a major factor in the population's phenomenal growth. It was easy to tell the difference between tombs depending on their owner's social status. One large casket may be surrounded by several smaller ones, or a single coffin may be used as both the outside casket and the interior casket, as is the case in many of the tombs of this size. Jade jewelry and porcelain dishes are common items to be interred with the dead as a sign of wealth. Earthenware storage vessels dominate the treasure from the more numerous medium tombs. When combined with the variety and quantity of burial goods, the size and construction of the coffins offer us a decent concept of the status of the owners. Burial goods also provide us with a fair idea about the status of the owners. One of the most astonishing things about the tomb's contents was the jade axe its owner was buried with at his hip. The jade decoration at the axe's handle's very end was given some extra flair with the help of some cinnabar. A jade axe is a symbol of force. Earrings, jade bracelets, rings, and string instruments were among the many objects unearthed at the Jiaosha site, lending support to the idea that this place was a major nexus for the production and use of jade in the Yellow River Valley. The huge quantity of bright pottery that has been discovered demonstrates the inhabitants' skill in arts and crafts. The people in charge had to be managed, the pottery had to be made, the trenches dug, etc. This proves that the Daowenquo civilization's middle and late stages had its own unique social structure. Despite this, the finding of deer teeth, painted ceramics, and shells among the goods of the deceased has substantially enhanced our understanding of ancient burial rituals. Archaeologists will expand their research to learn more about the growth and change of the Jiaosha community over time. Now, the average height of a modern Chinese male is predicted to be around 172 centimeters. The fact that the 5,000-year-old discovery of significantly larger males is catching the attention of certain people is, however, not surprising. Shandong province in East China is where the remains of these giants were found. One man's skeleton was measured at 1.9 meters, while the remains of at least 3 additional individuals were measured to be at least 1.8 meters. This is immediately apparent upon surveying the framework's skeletal structure. The discovery of larger tombs containing taller men provides support for the idea that those buried there had more social and economic status in life. Because of their height, they would have been a noticeable presence among the locals. The skeletons' heights are remarkably modern for the time period in which they lived. The researchers found 6 larger graves with ceramic and jade objects, and they also remarked that obvious damage to the head and limb bones of some of the deceased was also revealed. Perhaps this happened soon after the tombs were discovered and was a result of power disputes among the elite. Confucius, the great Chinese philosopher who lived from 551 to 479 BCE, is supposed to have been 6 feet 2 inches tall, or 1.9 meters. According to media accounts, residents of Shandong province greatly value their vertical stature. According to 2015 measurements, their average height was 1.75 meters, which is somewhat greater than the national average height of 1.72 meters. People in this country are, on average, 1.72 meters in height. The related artifacts with these late Neolithic remains were created by a culture that was at its peak between 4,500 and 5,000 years ago. Yet there's a lack of data on the precise sites of their dwellings throughout the Yellow River's lower reaches. Bones are fascinating, but they aren't the only thing found here that's worth mentioning. A common indicator of the homeowner's economic status was the presence of colorful ceramics and jade objects among the rows of houses. It's still a mystery what drove these men to grow such extraordinary heights. One possible explanation is that people had access to a plethora of food options. A height of 1.9 meters may not look impressive when compared to that of a Westerner who is taller than you. The ancient Chinese, however, would have regarded someone of this height as exceptional. The massive human skeletal remains unearthed in Jiaosha, China, provide intriguing new routes for future research into the region's ancient past, as can be deduced from an analysis of the available data and the discovery's significance. The discovery lends credence to the idea that the Yellow River Basin was the birthplace of Chinese culture. The discoveries further enriched our understanding of China's cultural history by illuminating a previously unknown ethnic group that settled in Jiaosha over 5,000 years ago. This discovery furthers our knowledge of humankind's interesting evolutionary path and stresses the significance of archaeology and ongoing efforts to recover our forgotten prehistoric history. It gives us insight into the everyday experiences of people from a bygone era.